You're listening to Stimulus Tech Talk, a conversation-based podcast created by Stimulus Technologies that covers a range of topics related to business and technology.
Hi, Nathan Whittacre here, CEO of Stimulus Technologies. We're here at Robin Robbins IT Sales and Marketing Bootcamp. Very excited to talk to a bunch of vendors here that we work with and talk about what's the latest in technology, what are the latest cybersecurity trends, what's going on in our world to bring to our Stimulus Tech Talk podcast. So join me as we talk to a few of these vendors and find out what's going on in technology. I'm here with Axcient, one of our partners that we use quite a bit. So tell us what Axcient does and how you help solve business problems.
Absolutely, I'm more than happy to. So Axcient is data backup and recovery options for servers, workstations, SaaS, email, Google Workspace, kind of a whole bunch of flexible different options for you guys to protect your customers in the event of disasters, floods, fires, whatever it may be. We're kind of your last line of defense.
And so talk to us a little bit about cybersecurity, because that's one of our concerns, is like ransomware or different type of cybersecurity events. So how do you prevent that from affecting businesses?
Yeah, to not be long-winded, a couple of different things that we do is, one is our air gap technology. What that is, we're essentially separating requests of deletion from the actual mechanics of the deletion. So when somebody gets in there, be it ransomware, accidental deletion, malicious deletion, we'll be able to separate that from the actual deletion process and rehydrate that back in for you guys. So realistically, with our solution, even if they delete the data, it's not gone for a certain time frame, and we can go ahead and help you guys recover that. Cool. And then we're also separating our backups in their own virtualizable state. So all your snapshots, everything like that is going to be held in its own spot, where if it gets corrupted, anything else, it's not going to affect any of the other backups.
So one of the things that we've found over the years of being in business is, backing up lots of different devices and having like a backup software on each individual computer seemed somewhat onerous, but you now have a solution, the direct-to-cloud solution. Talk to me about how Axcient does direct-to-cloud, and we can back up a lot of different types of equipment, from laptops to workstations to servers.
Totally. We found a lot of times an appliance-based approach, like you mentioned, can be a little bit more troubling, and having an agent on every single device can be tough. So using direct-to-cloud, it's going to act as for some of those clients that we have that aren't really trusting of their ISP providers, things like that. It's going to actually really speed up that recovery time when we're doing direct to cloud with our local cache option. So we have a USB device, something like that on site, and we're also doing direct to cloud and replicating there. And that way we can pull information from both the cloud and our site and keep you guys protected.
Yeah, so we can back up all the devices on the network without even have a BDR on site.
Absolutely.
And then finally, a lot of our clients are moving their data to the cloud, moving it to SharePoint or storing in a OneDrive, Office 365. Yeah. So how does Axcient help with that?
Totally, yeah. So we have options to protect your whole 365 environment as well as your Google Workspace. We're currently developing on our Teams chat function as well. So we know a lot of people are chatting in between teams, and we see that as a real need for us. So currently we're able to starting to back up things like threads in channel posts, stuff like that. But going to be covering you guys in the 3 times a day, checking with Microsoft, guaranteeing you 1 backup a day. Same thing with Google Workspace. And that's going to be indefinite retention as well. So no worries in terms of losing data. We're going to be able to search up those files, view them, browse them, and be able to pull down anything you guys need.
Cool. Yeah. Well, thank you. We love Axcient. We've been with you guys for a long time, so happy to have the partnership.
Absolutely. Hey, us too. I appreciate it.
Thanks for sharing a little bit about what you guys do.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks. I'm here with Nerdio. They're one of our partners. Can you tell us a little bit about what Nerdio does and how you help us as MSPs solve our problems with Azure?
Sure. So that's a good question. You can think of Nerdio as essentially a management platform, bolts on top and helps you manage various aspects of the Microsoft ecosystem. So on the infrastructure side, Azure infrastructure, AVD, things like that. And then on the M365 side, it allows you to manage all of your M365 stack, multi-tenant, all from a single pane of glass.
Yeah, so one of the complications we have at Stimulus is, and we help our clients solve, is if they have a lot of remote users that need line of business applications. So setting up Azure virtual desktop environments allows us to let our clients work in a virtual environment wherever they're at and get access to line of business applications. But setting up Azure is very complex, and Nerdio has been a great partner in helping us manage that safely and do a lot of automations for us. Talk to me a little bit about the automations and things that it helps, like saving money for our clients.
Yeah, so we have a lot of tools built into Nerdio that helps us auto scale. So essentially, when the resources are needed, we can have it pre-staged and have them available. So when everyone shows up to work at 8 a.m., everything's set up, good to go. But at the middle of the night or during holidays, people aren't going to be accessing those systems. So we can auto scale it so it turns it off, so the meter's not running 24/7, and we can save a significant amount of money that way.
Yeah, we found that clients save 40 to up to 80%, depending on what they're doing when clients are logging in and things like that, being able to auto scale. So
absolutely,
it's been as we brought in a couple of clients that weren't doing it, and then we implemented Nerdio, I saved them a lot of money over time. So, what about security and ensuring that the environment is set up correctly?
Sure, that's a great question. And so there's a lot of things that we can monitor from a security perspective within Nerdio. Back in November, we added some capabilities more on the 365 side. We can now manage Secure Score, track that, and see where the customers are at. And then we also have a partnership with CIS. So we provide CIS hardened images on the AVD side. And then we can also push CIS level 1 baselines for Windows 10 and Windows 11 right from the Nerdio portal.
Cool. Anything new and upcoming on the Nerdio side that's exciting?
Sure. So, really the big news is we just released version 6. It was announced at NerdioCon a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
There's a lot of new features in that. We're actually close to releasing GCC High support. Right now it's in private preview, but that should be coming out relatively soon as well.
Cool. Well, thank you. Appreciate the time and the updates.
Also.
Excited to be here with our partner, Galactic Advisors, with Allison, our account manager. So talk to us a little bit about what Galactic does for us at Stimulus and how that helps our clients.
Absolutely. So we are a third-party penetration testing, but we're also working into the cyber liability defense. Really what we're able to do is we're able to protect you guys and making sure your checks and balances are good and your configurations, obviously, you're secure, and you're able to go in and protect your clients using your stack. And then we'll come in kind of behind you and say, hey, yeah, everything's looking good. You're protected. And then being able to just really reduce their liability. A lot of clients have data that they don't think or realize is sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're able to come in and protect that data and have it all documented, that you're doing all the things so that if something does go sideways, you can go, oh, hold on a second. We've got it all documented. You're going to be covered whenever something happens.
That's an interesting thing, like that you said at the very beginning is, a lot of companies are signing with IT providers, but is there anybody watching the IT provider to make sure that they're doing the right stuff? And so that's one of the reasons why we joined Galactic is, we wanted to make sure that we were doing the right things so that we're protecting our clients, because we're one of the biggest targets
Absolutely.
For hackers. And so having the reassurance that we're doing the right things also protects our clients.
Absolutely. And now only 2% of MSPs are actually getting those health checks. And so whenever you guys come to Galactic and we do your security checks, and we do that on a quarterly basis. Mm-hmm. So it's not just a one and done. We're continually going through and checking and saying, hey guys, just heads up, this maybe need to be addressed. It protects you, and you're able to say, I get it checked on a routine basis, just like if you were to go to the doctor, right?
Yeah, and it's interesting. We do these for our clients. We do the assessments and try to understand what's going on in the client environment or for prospects. But we're doing it. They do it on us too to make sure that we're doing the right things. And so there's just a lot of different things we have to do to ensure that that we're protecting our clients from compliance and cybersecurity. And Galactic is our partner. Now, talk to us a little bit about some of the new things you're talking about, like the supply chain issues, because that's another side of it for our clients to understand what's going on with their vendors.
Absolutely. So it's been kind of a thing that's been happening more and more is the clients' vendors are going and saying, hey, what are you doing to protect your data? I don't know if you saw the Starbucks story that happened a few weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago, but they got breached because of a vendor security issue. And so that's one of the things that's available to you as becoming a client with you guys, is that we're able to kind of go through those vendor securities and just say, hey, we may need to talk about this just in case, because they may not know. And so it gives you an opportunity to really have that security discussion. It's really good to have that partnership, right? It's going to keep you in a trusted advisor state, keep your clients knowing we're taken care of. And if anything happens, just got to pick up the phone and call Stimulus. We're good.
Yep.
But supply chain is really not the only thing. Is nowadays there's something called a cyber personal injury lawyer because of breaches happening. And that's where we're really trying to help you guys as an MSP and as your clients on having that coverage and that documentation that you're doing everything. Because when things go sideways, I'm not really saying if anymore, when things go sideways, we want everyone to be protected. The worst thing that I could come into for any kind of a day is going, hey, we just got a declination of, or not a declination, a letter from the lawyers. That would be an awful day for me, because then it'd be, we could have done so much more.
Yeah.
Right?
Because that's what's happening. I mean, the attorneys are now suing everybody in the party if there's any, release of information or hack or things like that. So, going after the vendors, you as a customer, us as an MSP, everybody involved, and seeing, where the chips land and where the liability is. And so, we're ensuring that we're protected. We're ensuring our customers are protected. And, if that ever happens, if an event ever happens, we can show all the documentation that this is everything we did to protect it. I know it's, it wasn't 100%, but we can't protect 100%, but this is everything we did. And it keeps you out of court. So, and it ensures that the insurance companies are going to pay those claims too.
Absolutely. And we've got a ton of standards. So you're able to really protect against federal recognized standards. And
whether that's NIST or
NIST and FTC safeguards for CPAs, all of that can be boiled down, and you can start gathering that attestation that they're doing the things.
Yep.
Really having the clients taking advantage of knowing that they do have a piece in security. That is key whenever you're trying to talk about business impact, especially with these kind of risks and the data that they're going to be having.
So I've known Bruce McCauley for about 7 years. We were in a peer group together when he owned an MSP before he started Galactic Advisors. But he set on a mission to do what?
We are on a mission to help and protect 1 million people.
And I know you're well on your way of it. So we're excited to be part of that. And, our goal is to protect our clients, and using Galactic Advisors will meet both of those goals.
Absolutely. That is our goal. Anything we can do to help, we're always here.
Great. Thanks, Allison. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
All right. And we're here with Ninja One talking about RMM, which is, we don't usually use that term with our clients, but tell us a little bit about what Ninja One does and what is an RMM.
Yeah. So Ninja One is a RMM, or automated endpoint management platform. Two terms are pretty interchangeable. RMM is remote management and monitoring. So we're going to allow you to remotely manage your configuration of your devices, your security settings, your policies for what software is getting deployed, when it's getting deployed, automated reboots, patching. We'll do backup. Your monitoring is going to be conditions, like maybe you need to monitor some things in event log, or you need to monitor for when software is installed or uninstalled. We're going to do all that kind of stuff and allow you to get alerts, automatically create tickets.
And so we've been in the industry. This is 30 years for us. And when Stimulus started, we would have to go around and do all that stuff manually. And, we didn't have remote access to machines. We'd have to drive to our client location, make sure their antivirus installed properly, set up software, any tickets, we'd have to be on site. And honestly, RMMs made our life much easier, because we can react quickly to problems, have things automated, and get that, control over all our systems and technicians. And it's what our technicians live in most of the time. So one of the things that we really like Ninja One for is the AI side of it, of patch management. Talk to us about that and why patch management is so important, because now we're talking a little technical here. So, but what is patch management, and how does Ninja One help us with that?
So patch management is super critical. It's the idea of doing OS updates or third-party software updates. That's going to be like your Microsoft Word, maybe your antivirus, QuickBooks, things like that. And our AI patch setting or tool is basically we do an AI analysis of patches as they come out. So we're going to look at the patch notes, and then we're also going to look at reports for bugs and things like that. So I'm sure you probably remember Print Nightmare. Our AI analysis would have caught that. It would have seen that that was happening, and it would have flagged the patch and then alerted you guys in your RMM tool, and you would have just been able to go in, reject it, and then any devices that already had it, you could just roll back the patch and avoid that entirely. So the AI patching is, I think, probably the best use of AI that I've seen in any RMM. And I come from years in an MSP before I worked for Ninja One.
Yeah, we love it. You know, that's one of the scariest things that we do is in our company is Microsoft releases a patch, and what problems is it going to cause? And we can roll it out to a select number of clients, or they've already tested it. So that the patches, whether it's security, critical, or even just random updates, we can ensure that it doesn't cause outages for our clients.
Which is super important.
Yeah, so, well, great. I appreciate your time. Ninja One's been a great partner, and we look forward to continuing working with you guys.
Yeah, you as well. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Ian. And we're here with Scalepad, one of our longtime partners. Tell us a little bit about what Scalepad does and how you help MSPs with actually a lot of different things. You've grown quite a bit over the years since we started with you.
Indeed, yeah. Well, we got our start with asset management. As you know, that's the product that you use, Lifecycle Manager. And we've expanded to a number of other product lines. We have, we brought on Lifecycle Insights into the product suite, and Lifecycle Insights is focused more on the engagement with customers, the QBR, the VCIO type process. We also have Quoter, which is a fantastic quoting and contracts product. We have a fantastic platform for GRC called Control Map. Control Map is very well integrated into Lifecycle Manager as well, helping automate a lot of that heavy lifting of evidence collection and compliance checks on all your assets. We've got Cognition 360, which is our business intelligence tool, predictive analytics for ConnectWise Manage, ConnectWise PSA specifically. And what am I missing? Backup Radar. Backup Radar is actually one of our most popular products. It helps MSPs centralize all the dashboarding, monitoring, and ticket management for various backup solutions. We support over 300 different backup solutions that we either ingest via API or email notification to give you a centralized place to monitor all those backups.
So one of the big things that's coming up this year is the end of life of Windows 10.
Yes.
And I know that's something that we're talking to a lot of our clients about. So how do you help us as an MSP understand what our clients need to do to prepare for things like end-of-life hardware or end-of-life operating systems?
Of course. So in the Lifecycle Manager platform, one of the things we do is obviously look up the warranties. We have what we'd like to think is one of the strongest warranty lookup tools in the business. But just recently and very timely for this Windows 11 end of life is that we have launched a Windows 11 upgrade readiness report that allows you to see all the devices based on some assumptions, because one of the challenges with readiness for an upgrade is the TPM platform.
The chip, yeah.
And so a lot of that information is actually not published by default in the RMM APIs. You can create reports and run scripts for it, but it's not usually published on its own. But we have a list of CPU models and you can make some assumptions based on RAM and storage that gives you sort of a hit list or punch list of devices that may not be compatible and would need to be replaced. So that gives you pretty much an interesting sales pipeline to work through to try and get all those customers ready for the next cycle.
Yeah, that's something that we use often in our TBRs that we do with our clients is discuss, budgeting for those upcoming things that are happening rather than having to, suddenly buy, 50 machines. They can cycle that through, and we use these reports to help our clients understand how to budget for these upgrades and the life of their machines, which is, honestly really interesting information. Like, oh, we just bought that computer last year, and then they realize, I bought it 7 years ago. And the warranty status and keeping those up on servers. So it's been a great partnership, and we really enjoy, and I know our clients really enjoy having that understanding of what's going on with all their hardware.
Yeah, people tell us regularly how much they love the asset report from Lifecycle Manager, because it's so easy to understand, even for end clients, to see very clearly in a red, yellow, green type of status what devices should be looked at for replacement. Ease of budgeting into a quarterly approach or whatever for that evergreen replacement cycle. So it's a very nice tool for sure.
Great. Well, I appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
Of course, my pleasure.
We appreciate the partnership.
Yeah, thanks, Nathan.
Thanks.
Good to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. And we're excited to hear talking to Huntress, Ethan from Huntress, and about cybersecurity, EDR, all things that are essential to businesses. So tell us a little bit about Huntress and what you do to protect our clients.
Yeah, so we are a managed 24/7 cybersecurity platform. So we have our SOC team in the UK, Ireland, the United States, and Australia. Follow the sun staffing model so that people aren't chugging Red Bull, because people trying to stay up in the middle of the night, is not going to be successful watching for threats. And we own our own EDR technology. The background of the company, we had 3 founders who came out of the NSA and were like very good at getting onto machines and staying there. And they were like, there's a business in protecting against us. And that's the root of us, of being very driven to find threat actors in environments and protecting businesses, because we felt that security can't be just for the large enterprise. Like it needs to give enterprise class security tools for everybody at a price point they can afford. That's like a driving mission of what we're about.
Cool. So, I think you brought up an interesting point. So a lot of companies, especially SMBs, think that their IT guy is handling all their cybersecurity, but most threats happen at 2 a.m. or they're in the system for a long time,
Yes.
and then they are on a Saturday night at 2 a.m. And so having a 24-hour security operations center or SOC is essential.
Exactly. And because they can do things like, we can remediate, we can kill that process, we can remove malware that can install, but we can also do, we call it isolation, where our team, if they see a threat actor land on a machine, start touching it, will isolate that machine container so that the threat actor can't get there. Or if they think that threat actor is going sideways in the middle of the night, they'll isolate the entire organization. And that way that business is protected until you can get clear eyes, understand what's going on, and now you can systematically deal with that attack. And our analysts, love being able to catch those threat actors in the early stages. And it's all about that early detection you talked about. You want to be there as early as possible as the threat actors are trying to understand, because something people don't always understand is a threat actor doesn't immediately jump into an environment and ransomware it, or they're trying to understand what the business is they've landed in, because they are actually in a business. They're in a business of getting data. And so they want to understand what they have gotten. They're going to take some discovery. They're probably going to resell that to somebody else for the access. Hey, I got in here. So it's a very interesting ecosystem.
And as they discover that data, they're putting a price tag on what it means to the business.
Exactly.
Because, a business that doesn't have a lot of data, they might ask for a couple of $1,000s. But somebody that has a lot of confidential data, they might ask for millions of dollars.
Exactly. And then one of the things, though, is that I know, I was on the MSP side before I came to Huntress, was that small businesses are like, well, we don't have anything of value, but there's always something of value, whether that's payroll information for your own employees, it's your invoices and who your customers are. Maybe, you don't think of yourself as this major business, but one of your businesses that you take care of has a downstream person. And so it's all about those connections that they're looking at monetizing.
And I think one of the biggest threat vectors right now is email and cloud data.
Yes.
So talk to us about identity management.
Identity is definitely where the threat actors are pivoting to, because we've done really good coming up with EDR, next generation antivirus, putting in, firewalls that are blocking access. And so they've realized, as we've moved more and more to working off of our phones, that identity is driving everything. So largest, FBI just came out with latest numbers I haven't seen this year came out for 2024, but last year, business email compromise, largest number that was out there in their data. And that's going to continue to climb, and have heard, horrendous cases where that identity becomes so critical, because we do have things like single sign-on that you can log in with your email address into a HR system. And so if a threat actor compromises you and you're in charge of HR, now they can go over into your HR system and have access to all that data. So identity is definitely the big thing that is out there. And yes, MFA is going to help you. You definitely need to have MFA on devices, but they're now coming up with ways to bypass and attack those MFA codes and grab that. So it's a continual cat and mouse kind of game, for lack of a better description.
And what we see on those with the identity attacks is often just like in computers. They're in there for a long time. They set up redirect rules. So if they're communicating with a vendor or, let's say that accounting person, redirecting payments, things like that.
Redirecting payments, understanding how the email tones work, what access they had, setting it up, and they'll do kind of that long con, for lack of a better description, where they might even compromise a couple of accounts and start an email chain, quote unquote, legitimate email chain that they're hiding with those rules, etc., to create that veneer of it all being authentic with multiple accounts. And it's crazy. And
we use automated software to detect that because these rules are really complex, and it's just hard for one IT guy or even an IT team to detect all this that's going on. You have to have these automated tools that's detecting what's going on.
And you have to think how, one of the things I love about being at Huntress is we have dedicated threat researchers for every one of our products. And so for identity, for instance, our threat researcher has started to realize that OAuth apps, which are these applications you can install in a Microsoft tenant, are actually being used to exfiltrate data. And so now he's started to see this thing. We've now been able to add that into our product where we can see what we call rogue apps. And so things that person might click on, install because they've been tricked in a phishing email or something like that. Now we're able to detect that and say, hey, it looks like an end user has installed this thing that you would have taken actions to change password, put MFA back in place, etc. But those apps would have kept that persistence.
Yeah, we've actually talked about this on another podcast episode. So what he was talking about is, sometimes you get those emails that say, log in to download your secure email message.
Yes, exactly.
And you click on that, it says, connect with your Office 365 account. You click on that, it sounds great. And it looks like, an email that you were expecting, but it's now they're getting access into your 365 environment through the OAuth authentication. So hackers are very tricky, and we have to stay up on it as much as possible. So we appreciate working with vendors like Huntress that keep us up to date. So thanks so much.
Yeah, it was a pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Nick,
thanks.
Great talking to you.
We're here at Robin Robbins IT Sales and Marketing Conference, and I'm actually at the Robin Robbins booth with our account manager, Carrie. We've been working with her for a long time. Can you tell us a little bit about Robin Robbins and the whole Technology Marketing Toolkit team, or actually the marketing team now? This is a new name, right?
Yes,
We've been with TMT for 7 years. So tell us a little bit about what you do and how you help Stimulus and all these things.
Well, first of all, Robin's been in business for over 20 years, and she has successfully helped VARs and MSPs, managed service providers, or IT outsource companies, to scale their business with sales and marketing. And we've evolved so much in regards to everything that we do, and we help our members grow and get the results that she says that she's going to get by helping them with any type of process that they need. And we have a great community of peers that help walk alongside each other, like Nathan. And we just do so much, and it's an exciting place to be. As you can see, Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory, or actually Robin Robbins in the Marketing Factory. She loves her members, she loves her community, and she's here for results. So, and I'm excited to be part of that team. So thank you.
So one of the things that we use is a lot of the marketing materials, and Robin writes those, and they're often corny. So if you've ever got like an aspirin letter from us, with aspirin or a dollar bill attached to a letter or something like that, that's some of Robin's marketing genius. And it's always very interesting. So, kind of talk to me about some of the other things that you have us do that's kind of cheesy or crazy.
Cheesy or crazy? Actually, everything she does is results driven, like I said before. What we really focus on at TMT is helping our members and educating them on a process. And if you know Robin, everything we do is a process. And we help to give you those tools to succeed, whether it be helping you to understand what an appointment setter is, or the automations that help with that marketing, sales, operations, all the things to be successful. And that's what we do. Now, cheesy, as you can say, we like we love a great theme.
Yes. And I love cheesy, honestly.
Yes.
A lot of the fun, it makes it fun and interesting, and that's one of the things I like about the campaigns and different things we do. But a lot of it's serious, so it's one of the reasons why we started this podcast. Robin talks about building authority and trust,
Yes.
and so wrote the book, The CEO's Digital Survival Guide. One of the first speakers I ever heard at Robin Robbins was talking about writing a book, and you help members understand what it really takes to get their message out there. One of the reasons why we have this podcast, the book, our webinar series, all these different things. And we emulate a lot of what Robin does and the group does here, because it really works. And the other thing that we really like is the peer group side of things too. So we have, how many people are here? About 1,500 or so?
There's about 1,500 people here.
Yeah, it's really cool to be part of a community with all these other IT, companies that are trying to be better, trying to implement the new things. So it's just awesome to be part of this community and be here with different vendors, different peers, and a great team driving it all. So thanks, Carrie, for.
Thank you. Well, we love what we do here at TMT. All of us give 200%. We really want you to be successful, and we take great pride in your results. So if you want to know more, just reach out to us and we'll be more happy to help you.
Cool. Thanks, Carrie.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Well, that's a wrap. We went around and talked to some different vendors, some of the ones we use, and talked a little bit about industry stuff, which might be interesting to you, especially if you are in the IT world. There is definitely a great number of vendors here, a lot of different products. It's very interesting to see what trends are going on with cybersecurity, with IT, especially with AI. A lot of the conference focused on AI. We didn't really talk to any AI vendors here, but a lot of the discussion was around how to use AI to improve business processes and what's going on in that world. So join us with our podcast, Stimulus Tech Talk, as we discuss these things over the next few weeks. What's going on with AI, cybersecurity, IT in general, because we can't forget about basic IT needs. So always great to be at these different conferences and learn and grow and bring it back to you, our listeners, and our customers. So thanks for joining us.